Okay, rock and roll. What's up, DD Got a Podcast? This is just for you. And I'm gonna make this channel BB Got a Podcast because my name is Bobby. But that's just to get your attention. I just want to make sure you see this. And you say, man, dude's ripping off my fucking my doggone name. I cuss a lot. I'm gonna try to. You play by a lot of YouTube rules, so I'm gonna try to do that. I don't have anybody. I just have like barely anybody follows my YouTube stuff because I'm gonna start trying to change that. So I guess I gotta. I think it's like the more people follow you, the more you got to be careful. Like I got rid of all my Facebook friends, and now I can say whatever I want to whoever I want, and I never get thrown in Facebook jail anymore. It seems like if I had when I used to have lots of friends, I got thrown in Facebook jail all the time. Got tired of it. And I tried to do that. Well, anyway. So, I've been following your Candace Owens stuff. I also did your, oh yeah, because I was going to say, and I'm my name's Bobby, and I'm 66, which I only added because I seen you commenting on Michael Jackson's 6th album, The Moon or something, when you were kind of like 666, kind of you're hinting at. And that call, I was like, oh yeah, Clive Davis. I have a personal firsthand account of him that'll blow your, but that's for later. That's for if we can get me. If I can get where people are paying attention, because like I'm not bringing receipts because I can't sit down for long periods of time anymore. I'm too, I done too much of that younger days, deep diving, and now have circulation problems. I'm working through them, but I can't sit there and I'm just going to be regurgitate or reiterate or telling you what I already know from the past. Okay, let's see if I can find a good place to start. This is Charlie Kirk. Not murder, or not. Not breathing. I agree with that. I just watched your video and I was like, yeah, somebody said, I've been waiting, when's somebody going to say that in the Trump thing? It's like it all fits together too good, like what it did for Trump is the same thing that the Charlie Kirk thing was going to do for the conservative Christian Zionists, their whole campaign of what the heck ever. It was going to blow that up the same kind of way, and like, yeah, look at all this stuff, no. So anyhow, well, one thing to understand is like, okay, you can look this up, is the article, A Viking into the World. And, oh man, when, 2014. This article is like, it's just from this Nordic festival group people, but, they got some articles went around, said Nordic end of the world, I forget the name of it there. Their book on their end of the world book, prophecy book or story, myth or whatever, and that's the day that there was the coup in Ukraine. It started all the war of it, that was the beginning of all this, and I ain't gonna go there. There's like a lot of deep dives that go into that. I blow that whole damn thing up. I can blow a lot of stuff up because I'm like really. Well, I mean, my father was CIA. I was like indoctrinated into a lot of stuff right here in Fairfax County, home of the CIA. I'm still here, been here all my life. Been up these people's rectums. Can you say asshole sounds more acceptable than rectum? But I guess I can say rectum. But anyway, I've been dealing with these nuts my whole life. and I know a lot of, I mean, I know their game. Their games now. Everybody's getting to know their games more and more. You see something and it's like, you're not afraid to think you're a conspiracy theory for not believing all the crap that's coming out because it's like, well, it all turns out to be alive. It fits the same kind of model, and it's just really easy to spot. But see, I mean, I grew up, I was weaned on it. Literally weaned. I was born into a CIA program. Like, we're gonna see what happens when we put a spell on a baby before it's born, and will it grow little horns and fangs and shit or whatever. I did a lot of weird stuff, and they did a lot of weird stuff to me, and and they made mistakes, and now I'm their problem, or I've been their problem all along. And the problem is the rest of you. I can't tell you what's the real what's going on because you won't believe me. Well, now people maybe. So anyway, I'm going to tell you this side of the Charlie Kirk thing. That the first thing that dawned on me, Charlie Kirk got shot. Who the hell is Charlie Kirk? I think I've heard his name. I've heard him on the radio talk shows. Okay, so, okay, apparently, I guess he's some kind of Christian guy. Yeah. And I was like, so why they kill the Christian guy? It's like, he's you never know. Yeah, I don't think they've been saying the guy was a tranny lover. They weren't trying to pin it on the LGBTQ people yet, but I mean, the story's going on. I ain't hardly paying attention, and then they say Utah. I go, whoop. And they said Salt Lake City. I was like, oh, bingo. And the reason that caught my attention is because months earlier, JFK said, we're going to get rid of fluoride out of drinking water, causing autism, blah, blah, causing all kinds of trouble. And I spoke out loud, even though there's nobody around but me. I said, I wonder what the Mormons gonna think of that one. And the reason I said that is because, all right, so here we go back some years. Mitt Romney's running for fucking president or vice president. He's running for president. I don't think I really even remember against who. Obama, I guess. Because he didn't, he's like Mitt Romney, I guess Obama's going to be president. Whoever runs against Mitt Romney was going to be president because he's like a wet napkin or something. So then I said, let's look at, I heard he's a Mormon. I was like, oh, that's interesting because I'm like, like my last name is Fontaine, okay? And so if you look up the founder of the Knights Templar, Saint Bernard de Clairvaux is where he built his first monastery. Before then, he was Bernard de Fontaine. And so I'm raised on this lore because it's in my blood, And then like Fontaine is also like Phoenician. It's a cognate for Phoenician. It's like you got the original world traders And then they disappear, and then you have the Fontaines and the Knights Templar who invented the banking system we have now. Not the brand or not the kind of banking system we have now, but the banking system we have now. They invented that. So, like there we are again, world traders becoming, world bankers. It's, it all makes perfect sense. But this is, I was raised on this stuff in the CIA, like as a little kid. And then they did stuff to me to make me forget it, but remember it at the same time. Like part of me remembered it. Part of me knows all that shit like it's me, and the other part, the part of me that you normal, who's out in the world doesn't remember any of it until they fucked up. They messed up. So anyhow, so Mormons, Freemasons, I don't know, dig all into that crap. The church got a hell of a history. Okay, and part of it is like, so they're out there in Utah and they're being polygamists. So let's be polygamists. And then, but then the leader, and nobody cared. The government didn't care. They went to bum fart Utah, so nobody would bother him anyway, and nobody was bothering him until the leaders started stealing everybody's wives and daughters to be polygamy about, and they got into warring factions and were hurting, and then they killed the leader and his brother who had been locked in a jail to protect them from their own followers. In the meantime, the government outlawed polygamy, not for moral reasons, but because whoa, this is not working out. These people are running around stealing each other's wives and daughters and then starting little civil wars among themselves. and now they done killed their, so after they killed their own leader, they came up with something called the Oath of Vengeance against the United States. That they, if you wanted to be up and coming in the Mormons, you would work your degrees up to the point where you got to take the Oath of Vengeance. That made you part of the inner circle of people who were sworn to look for a way to do bad stuff to the rest of us with our pants to the knee, our pants to our knees, because they killed their own people and blah, blah, blah. Well, but see, because then they had to move to Mexico, because they couldn't practice polygamy, even though they should have stopped. Whatever. I haven't looked at that stuff in a long time. Details, if you haven't looked at it, maybe by the end of this you will. So anyway, I'm looking up this, this Romney guy is a Mormon, and I know a bit about everything I just said, but I didn't know the Oath of Vengeance, but I knew about all the turmoil that led up to it, and then, so I'm like, when Romney, I hear he's a Mormon, I'm like, he probably, them kids knock on the door and talked him into it, So I look it up. It's like, no, they go all the way back to the beginning, to the originals and stuff, And I was like, well, that's interesting. And so then I, looking around, then I find this, the oath. Well, I think I probably first found the White Horse Prophecy, which is where a Mormon comes along, in spite of all the terrible things the United States has done to them poor Mormons in their polygamy. A Mormon, when God punishes the country, and we reach the depths of hell, and we're on our last breath, a Mormon will rise to the occasion and save America and then the world. I'm like, oh. So this is wrong. I'm like, boy, they sure picked a fucking a loser to run that race. I mean, he it's like when Trump talks about low energy candidates, like what he called that Bush boy. It's like, yeah, no. I mean, he's right about I forgot the Bush guy's name, but Romney is like, he's low energy. He's like sleepy. He's even sleepy eyed. Like you can be sleepy eyed, like I'm sleepy eyed, because of the medical marijuana that helps me sit down for longer. But how you like my project? I said, let's sit in front of that. I was like, I see him trying to sit in front of something interesting, making podcasts. I said, let's sit in front of that. But anyway, so they got these. So I was like, so he's the white horse prophet. I'm like, okay, let's look at it from that direction. Then I'm digging around, and then I said, let's look at his daddy. I started looking at the family history and everything. Well, it turns out I think it was his daddy. I don't think it was his granddaddy. I think his daddy was like a senator, but like the way he got to be senator was like World War II. He was he was a big shot in auto industry or something, and he figured out how to make aluminum planes. So they were much lighter and gave us an edge over the Nazis and Japanese or whatever. So he did all big on the aluminum, and then when the war's over, like, hey, they done innovated all these new engineering skills with aluminum and everything, and he's been such a hero to the effort that he winds up a senator, or I think he was a senator, but he was also like either the head of Alcoa or the inventor of Alcoa, but he was like lobbyist for Alcoa after he was senator, but there's a big, Alcoa is like the aluminum lobbying group, the big aluminum lobbying group. And so, and I'm looking at it like, whoa. Well, see, I haven't found the Oath of Vengeance yet. Then I find the Oath of Vengeance, and I'm like, whoa. Fluoride's a byproduct of making aluminum. And that's where when it all happened, like with the senator or with him and Alcoa. I don't know. I mean, there was all back then, like when he was running for office, whenever, like 15 years ago or 13 or whatever, when Obama was running against him. So was that like 17 years ago, so maybe there's more now. Maybe they've erased more now, because I probably said something. It seems like every time I say something about something, it's harder to find it. So he's right in the middle of all that fluoride, putting it in the drinking water and everything. And then the first place that they put it in is Michigan, which is where he was like, whatever, governor or senator, or, that's where the car industry was. That's where he was like, the aluminum inventor of lighter, faster planes and all that, So it's like the Oath of Vengeance. And that's why his son is the progeny of the white horse prophecy, I expect. So then fast forward to RFK, and he says, he's snitching on their fluoride. Now this is like, autism, and like it's been being said, it's been like the turning the little children into the opposite sex has been they've been using the, autistic kids make easy marks because they buy into whatever sources of authority tell them, and when they get it in their head, you can't get it out. And but it's like that's why you're not allowed to talk about, there's only two sexes, because one of them might hear it and snap him out of the spell, and he'll go, "Oh my God, they turned me into the opposite sex. They killed themselves." Like that. Like that's what the whole thing is. It's like, they'll commit suicide if you don't do this, and it's like, well, no, that you got them brainwashed into thinking a bunch of stuff that would be so embarrassing if they ever snapped out of it that they might kill themselves. I mean, that's my take on it. It's just my take, like you say, it's like, it's just my opinion. I ain't trying to say I know anything for a fact. So anyway. And so then I'm like, okay, so more what the Mormon's going to think. And then Charlie Kirk gets shot, da-da-da-da-da. And I saw everything you did, what you're talking about today anyway. Not that you saw anything. You're just thinking, out loud. You're not trying to claim anything. But that, Charlie is not unalived. And it's all a staging the same way the Trump shooting was, It's like, because it's like to put the right over the top. It's as if, my old handlers, they used to work for the Democrats and then they flipped, and so they said, okay, we're the ones who, they go to clandestinely they got files on people so that they can't, non-disclosure. We'll tell you a bunch of stuff, whatever. And they're like, okay, Trump, we're gonna fake, we used to fake stuff for the other team, but we've seen the light. We're gonna fake stuff for you. So they faked Trump into being a hero, almost martyr, and then it worked so well, they faked Charlie Kirk into a martyr, but unless he's not really, unalived. And so, and it's all like, you've got like what I said about Ukraine, and then you've got Israel. I mean, everybody knows there's like these prophecies that, war, Israel, peace between Israel and its neighbors begins the 7 years rapture and the end of the world. And this is all like Christian Zionists, and they all believe this stuff, even though none of it makes any sense. Even and especially as far as what the Bible says. It's like I don't know if they're lying or stupid when it comes to the Bible. It just doesn't say any of the stuff that Christians say it does. It says the words, but it's like they're not speaking the words that the Bible says. They're making up all this stuff. It's like, no, the words tell exactly what it is. It's like the creation in the Garden of Eden. It's not talking about creating the planet Earth. It's talking about, my ancestors, the Phoenicians, and they go and colonize like indigenous peoples and put them to work, and trade, so they can trade with them. They create industries and trade, and creating the world is like just the written language that they'll communicate in, like God created it's the word of God. It's like, they taught the indigenous people the language that they use so they could communicate with each other, and then they got a written language so they can keep records. But it goes back even before that. But that's basically what it is. All the myths and all of that are just about these advanced people, the Phoenicians, who have we have an Atlantean origin that I can talk about someday and prove beyond any doubt. along with my MK Ultra or CIA, I can prove everything I say, I can prove beyond doubt. Except for like the crap I just misstate, like regarding Mormonism or something. Was like, oh yeah, I should have looked that up, but I ain't sitting. I'm sitting now to do this. But I wouldn't be sitting and doing the research and then sitting to and whatever. I mean, I'm done with that pretty much because I got enough provoking stuff that's like, and I'm provoking enough myself for everybody else is like, you looked that crap up. I already did. And if I'm wrong, excuse me, I don't really give a crap. But anyway, because I'm right anyway. I'd just be like, oh yeah, I got that wrong, but I got it right anyway. I'm one of them people that I'm right even when I'm wrong. So anyway, so then the fluoride, the Romney. Oh yeah, in Israel, they're all working. They're all applying for this fake end of the world to create a new world order so they can have a one world church. And that's what it was like. Charlie gets killed, and within days, his martyrism is leading to a one world church. Boy, when we get done, there won't be. Everybody's going to be a Christian Zionist on the whole planet. Oh boy, for us. So, I'm like, how does that fulfill the white horse prophecy? That was it. It's like I hadn't had that part, but everything else fit. And I'm probably leaving out a ton of stuff, but it's probably stuff you pretty much know anyway. I'm just giving you a story. And hopefully you'll appreciate. You'll say, I got this from BBGotaPodcast, but don't let him steal my name. Because I'll get rid of it, quick. I just want you to go, what's this BBGotaPodcast? Who the heck does this guy think he is? And then you watch, and then you'll see, okay, I get it. Because nobody ever pays no attention to me, So it's like, I'm pulling out all the stops for DDGotaPodcast, which I was like, DDGotaPodcast. And you got like Big D, G. And the first thing I saw was like, oh, I see DDGotaPodcast. Like you sitting around and you and the family, and they're playing video games. You're over there on your computer digging into all this stuff, and every time something comes up, you go on and on about it, and then somebody says, D-Dog ought to have a podcast. So it goes like, D-Dog ought a podcast, DDGotaPodcast. I'm just curious. Every time I see it, I'm curious if I got that right. Because I get a lot of stuff right. And if I'm wrong, it's like, it's fun to get stuff wrong when you write so damn much. Especially when you're one of these people who's right even when they're wrong. So anyway. So last night I'm talking to my mom. I tell her the whole theory, but she ain't been following Candace or anybody else. So I was really just letting myself hear what I have to say about it, since I'm a hermit. I don't talk to people who do it's like, except my mom. Call my mom and let her listen to me talk to myself, because a lot of times in conversations I figure out the missing piece of the puzzle. Because I put it all out there in front of me, in front of her, and it's like, whoa, dude. It dawned on me, the white horse prophecy. It's the kid, the fake shooter, the Mormon who changed the world because he shot Charlie Kirk and turned him into a martyr, which led to this massive Christian Zionist movement that, now we all get to go to heaven because Jesus is coming down to forgive us for, all the stupid shit we do, stupid crap we do. And that explains, like, and then why everybody starts freaking out when they're digging up, starting to poke holes in the story. And you get Netanyahu, like all these people that are freaking out trying to cancel Candace and Tucker. And it's like, holy crap, everybody said the same thing. It's like they sound like these leftists, like they don't answer the questions. Like you say, well, this doesn't add up. Can you give us an explanation and we'll go away? And they go, oh my God, you're anti-Semite. You're a Nazi Hitler. And it's like, that sounds like a leftist accusing us all of being racist, sexist, homophobics, and all that. It's like, oh, and I've long thought, well, my whole thesis, and I don't even have to, it's not even a theory. And that's at the right and the left. It's like, think about it. The left gets too much power and they want to turn all the little boys into little girls and all that nonsense. They have sex with children. They want to go tripping off into, they want to be parading down the street with naked children and, they're trying to turn us into something, really weird, But then the Republicans sit back and it's like, they're like they're watching to see if it's, and then it's like the American people start going, okay, this is a little bit too much, and then Republicans go, they start saying something, but they're still like laid back, and they're not really they're not trying to end it, But then it's Trump and Trump supporters and podcasts, and as the momentum picks up, like this whole men and women's and little girls' restrooms and sports and all this stuff, that ain't gonna fly. And then so all of a sudden now now we're all going to Christian Zionist heaven without having mentioned. Like, none of them ever talk about the Catholic priests, pedophile Catholic priests, the pedophile Boy Scout masters that shut down, ended the Boy Scouts, and they've done studies in all the other religions, and they find the same kind of issues as like widespread pedophilia that nobody does anything about, nobody talks about, and they pay off the ones who run their mouth, and it's like, and then they gotta wonder how America was so prone to this whole LGBTQ thing. Like, gee whiz, how many of the people that were raped by priests and Boy Scout masters and ministers wound up confused enough to give a backbone to all this LGBTQ stuff that don't make a lot of sense. And now the pendulum's coming back. Oh, see, you need religion. That's what went wrong. There's not enough religion. It's like, no, it's pretty obvious the religion is the one that started all this. And and then now you want to go back to the religion even heavier without ever having religion and nationalism, without mentioning the pedophile religious leaders and Boy Scout leaders. And much less like, why are you getting raped when you go to prison? Like the stuff that's always been accepted. It's like, well, but why? Like a dude rapes another dude in prison. It's like, shouldn't he get like killed or like? I mean, there's a lot of. It's like, I mean, my view is if you go to prison and you do something stupid, you're there because we didn't execute you. We rehabilitate. First of all, you ain't locking people up for nonsense. You ain't locking up people with for marijuana to go get raped in prison by psychopathic killers. It's like bad people go to prison, and if they break one little rule, they're done. And So then even idiots, even psychos don't do psycho because they don't want to go to prison because they know, it's like if you lock up a politician, you start locking up politicians, they stop being corrupt. The people that wear suits and ties, they only, I always do this little thing like these dudes are like, they get caught and they go in front of the judge and they say, "But Your Honor, I'm innocent. I never would have done it if I'd known I was going to get caught." I mean, it's like with a drunk driver, and it's like, if the sentence for drunk driving was you get shot on sight as soon as you blow a dirty drunk test. But when the cop pulls you over and you can't walk a straight line, he puts a gun to your head and drops you. Now, I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying if you did that, nobody would ever drive drunk. And so you wouldn't have to have an argument about whether it's right or wrong or moral to do it. It's like you never have to do it because nobody's going to drive drunk again. I mean, that's what, if I got caught drive drunk, I'd use that as the defense. But Your Honor, when you send people to AA for driving drunk, even though millions of people get killed by drunk drivers on the highway, you really set me up for this. Because if you'd have done it the way you should have done it, I wouldn't drive drunk and neither would anybody else. Point being, I don't remember. But, So, you got all this end of the world stuff, and you got Charlie Kirk, you were right. I was like watching you today. It's like, oh my God, he's the only one picking up on any of this stuff, or saying it. Because you're right, too. They all got to be seeing it. And they're either afraid or, Candace could be laying back, I do that is play dumb and lay back because let them walk into it. Trump, that's what Trump does, but, so then, Charlie Kirk gets fake killed, fulfills the Mormon, like the Mormons come to the Freemason table, or like, but that was the point. Knights Templar, then they become Freemasons. And trust me when I say the Phoenician Fontaine bloodline, along with all the rest of them, they is some mixed up people. You can't even imagine the stories I can and will tell. But I do that. Oh, right. So, and then you got the White Horse Prophet, because the Mormons come to the table and said, "Hey, man, we played our Oath of Vengeance card fair and square, and now that RFK is getting rid of fluoride, so you owe us. We got, and it's like, and then so they haggle and haggle. Like, well, what if we give you the White Horse Prophecy, and it comes out of this, like you get rid of fluoride, we're getting rid of fluoride, so you play, and the first place that got rid of fluoride after RFK started saying something was Utah or Salt Lake City. I don't remember, but it's like, so that's the first place. Oh, you can't say any of that about us. We're the first ones to get rid of it. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that way. Yeah, so you were thinking ahead. Yeah, smart people. And so they haggle and they say, well, what if we get out of the getting rid of fluoride, we give you the White Horse Prophecy? And that they come up with this whole thing because it's like because Charlie Kirk's martyrdom is going to lead to a new world order under a one world church, because Israel, it's all, whatever Israel's role in, whatever scheme, whatever we would be seeing played out right now that's not playing out because their plan is not going so doggone good. And that's why they're all freaking out. I mean, when you see Mark Levin freaking out, you're going, holy shit, crap, the rug just got pulled out from everything from these people. And so that makes the kid, and then, like, I got this whole theory, right? It's in my head, and like a couple of weeks ago, the story about Romney's niece or something, cousin or whatever, goes off a shopping mall parking lot, like from the third or fourth story or whatever, and unalives, and they don't know if she committed suicide or was pushed. I'm like, see, it's like L.A. There's a whole deep dive on it. It's not even deep. It's shallow dive. Nobody says it. The same as you talk about, why don't anybody point out that Charlie Kirk might still be, like it's all a scam. He's still alive. But like L.A., Kamala loses the election. And I got oh boy, you would love the one I got on her. That goes back. That's bad, man. That's doggone Cheney and oh geez. But but see, it's like the Mormons having an oath of vengeance because they killed their own leader over them being a little bit too ambitious about their polygamy. And so then Kamala loses, and they burn down L.A. because they're like, you people, we count on you people to have the American people in your pocket because we, you're like movie stars. You're all these people that you're the biggest influencers on the planet. And you couldn't even beat Donald Trump. Well, but see, that's just the logic they have to use in the game they play. It's like they knew Kamala was going to lose. I mean, it's like, but it doesn't matter. Like, right and wrong doesn't matter. The point being that so Romney, when his fluoride is going down the drain, or no longer going down the drain with the tap water, then there has to be a blood libel for the failure. But she maybe she's not unalived either. It's just like the shooter didn't really shoot Kirk. Kirk's not really, because that was the way I was brought up and trained. I was offered roles in games that it's like, I didn't even have to give the performance. They would just write me into it anyway, or give the performance. It's all fake, but I never rolled with them, I always rolled against them. Someday we'll get deeper into all that, and you'll see these people are just they're not as complicated as they want you to think. But anyway, they're idiots. You look, the more you know about them, it's like that's like we got the first DC Politics 101 was Biden, and then when everybody started freaking out on Candace and Tucker over Israel and all that, it's like, oh, here we go. This is 102 DC Politics 2.0 or 1.0. Anyway, So, yeah, I think that pretty well wraps it up. What time is it? Too? Oh yeah, perfect time. That's exactly what I was hoping for. So anyway, good talking to you, Dee Dee. Got a podcast.